All right, welcome back to the Summit Podcast, everyone. I'm Bob Turner, and I'm on today with a great friend of mine, co-worker, co-conspirator, if you will, in the contracting
I
business
love it.
and
I love it.
coaching business as well. Mr. Richard Nordheim is here with me, owner of Enhanced Renovations down there in North Carolina, also Casper East Screens, and he's one of our coaches inside the Rozenberg Group. So we've got a bunch to talk about today. Richard, thanks for being on the Summit Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time.
I feel privileged to be here. I know we've talked about this on several occasions and had yet to be able to make it happen, but perseverance.
Yeah, I'm glad you came. I wanna hit early, set the scene, because I remember being in an Uber in September of 2021, pulling up to the hotel. I'm like, I'm gonna go to this event. I don't know a soul, right? I'm like, I'm going to that thing. This Tom Reber guy has been kind of talking at me on the podcasts, and I've been listening to him, and I like this guy. So I pull in an Uber, and I step out, and two guys standing there are you and Anthony Abbott. And later I thought that you were his father-in-law or something, but I quickly learned that you both knew each other, and here we are now at a conference together. And that was the first time we met. The next morning we had breakfast together, and it's just been nonstop ever since. No matter what coaching group that we're part of or where we are in our business lives, you and I have come together and role played and increased our skills along the way. And I just want to say thanks. I appreciate your friendship. It's been a fun ride, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, same here. I mean, I remember that day vividly. What's interesting is how the world brings us together. And, you know, I remember getting together for breakfast and, we were getting breakfast and you sat down and I was like, I'm all about meeting new people. So we just sat down together and then, here we are today, right? So let's look at it that way. Even doing role plays on regularly scheduled plans. So I mean, it was every Wednesday at 9 a.m. on the money. We had role plays and pushed ourselves.
Yeah, we burned up a bunch of Saturdays too, if I remember right.
We did what we needed to do to sharpen the edge, right?
Yeah. Well, what would you say? I mean, that was that version of us, right? So there was a version of Richard there that I met. And how was he different than the version of Richard that we have today?
Holy crap. I'm going to try and be conscientious of my verbiage. Yeah. Back then, so I'm going to give you a 5-second diatribe or Reader's Digest version. I had run a business for many years. I was fairly successful. I managed people. We were a Four Seasons Sunrooms franchise in Ohio. And of course, in 2007, the housing bubble and the S&L thing blew up, and people were worried about paying their mortgages, necessarily buying sunrooms. That really kind of created a pinch. And I wound up having to walk away from that business and pridefully hurt. I had to file bankruptcy. I had to walk away from my home. And I really felt like I was kicked in the nuts. When ultimately I wound up coming to North Carolina because there was an opportunity with Four Seasons here. And I wound up working with them. And I said, I don't want to be in management. I just want to install. And because of my construction background, I was very good and very particular about what I did. My forte was glass roofs, wooden beam sunrooms. I mean, the Rolls Royce of the product line, if you will, was my forte. And I got the jobs done. I satisfied the clients and brought the checks in. That was great for a while. The company made a couple of adjustments and they actually looked to sell off the people that I was working with. So I kind of wound up going to work for myself. And it was me, myself, and I. Dad passed away. I was in New York reworking the house to try and get it ready for sale or for rent. Unfortunately, I fell down the stairs and broke my leg. And I had a spiral fracture and I've got an internal fixator and, screws and all that stuff. I was out of work for 6 months.
Wow.
And I watched my entire opportunity for income come to a crashing halt. And it was with that, not just having me stop earning anything, but I had several people working for me that actually were now automatically out of work.
Yeah.
And when we grew to a point that I was comfortable and back to work, I started to see Tom Reber stuff on YouTube. And I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? This is motivational. I need to step back into the ring. We need to grow the business again, as fearful as it may be. Let's do this thing. Nothing can rely on me. It has to rely on the business and the structure that we put forward.
Right.
So when we met, I was breaking out of my shell. That was, I think, my
Yeah.
second event or
Yeah.
third event, because I jump in, I do everything 100%.
Shocker.
Good or bad. Sorry for
Yeah.
that.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, let me ask you a question. What, looking back, what initially pulled you into that? Because I viewed that as both personal and business development at the time, and I think we both needed it. But what was it? Was it something that pulled you into that in the first place?
It was the sense of community. I mean, ultimately, and I've said this 1,000 times before in a lot of the coaching processes that we go through. It's all about community.
Right.
We live in our own heads. We have our negative self-talk, and we're constantly trying to defeat that within ourselves on a daily basis. And sometimes we get browbeaten, and sometimes it's hard to pick yourself up. You'll have a good day, and it's like golf. You get a good swing. It's like, great, I'm going to keep playing golf. And you're like, shit,
I'm going to
why am
stall
I
my
still
clubs.
doing this? Right? But when you get in a community of like-minded people who are willing to invest in themselves and actually put money on the table,
Right.
you're in a community of like-minded people. And what I'm finding is that everybody wants to be helpful, and we foster growth and support in our peer group with each other. And it is just an amazing community to be involved with. Everything that we did through contractor fight and up and coming, again, when we talk about getting into, giving me a task or saying, here's something that you have to attain. Well, black belt was it. And it's like, okay, Buffalo,
Right.
China, bull
Yeah.
in the China closet. We're going
Yeah.
to make this happen, hell or high water.
Yeah, and we did. What would you say some of the mistakes that obviously you sought out coaching, you sought out a mentorship, personal development, but what are some of the mistakes you might have made early on, even as you restarted, that you wouldn't make today?
Well, it's learning to give it up, right? I mean,
Letting go. Yeah.
you talked about it on your calls in the morning, how often. It's really all about being able to trust somebody else. It's giving them enough rope. I mean, again, you can always say, I can do it better. Yeah, we can, but we're also the bottleneck, right?
Mm,
So, I mean, if you've got all this opportunity and everything has to go through you, you're kind of screwed, because now you're the catalyst.
right.
That's not going to work. So how do you widen that bottleneck? You involve other people. You trust in them. You feed them. You give them the support that they need. You make them feel empowered, such
Yeah.
as my team today. I went and met with the team. I'm not in the day-to-day business anymore, which is amazing.
Hmm.
And that's all ultimately the bottom line as to what it is that we're ultimately trying to do here as a collective, is grow a business and get out of its way, let it run, but empower people. And you have to learn to get away from that mindset of, it's me. I have to do it. I can do it. I can do it better. You'll die in that position.
Right. Yeah. You can't, it's only going to grow as much as you'll get out of the way and let it. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. I appreciate you giving us the background. Tell me about Enhanced Renovations as it sets today. I know you've worked really hard, and I know you worked with Steve early on to really work to extract yourself from the day to day. And it sounds like you've been successful at that. And what has that looked like? And why is Enhanced Renovations where it's at?
I appreciate that. Thank you. Great question, by the way.
That's what I do. That's why I make no money to do this.
Of course. Thank you. Yeah. So I wound up, when I came here, I started this business in roughly 2007, incorporated in 2008. Started as an LLC and a sole proprietorship. A lot of work was me, myself, and I, and a helper, and because it was a control freak,
Yep.
if I wanted to go away for a weekend or a week, I told my help, you're off. I can't trust you. I can't leave you with anything in my absence. So, of course, there's that ebb and flow. Here again, I wound up finding that it was me that was the problem, because I can only earn as much as I could make. I'd
Mm,
sell the jobs. I got the materials established for the project. I showed up. I communicated with the client diligently day in, day out, did impeccable work, and they loved me to death. But how do you scale that?
right.
And ultimately, I wound up realizing that I had to step that up. And this is where getting involved in the contractor fight initially was kind of like the elbow to the gut that told me, okay, now you need to do this. So a Marcus Sheridan, getting with Tom Reber and Steve Shinoles, or Tim Catroni, and then the rest of the troops.
Yeah.
It was empowering for them to kind of go, hey, you got this. And I'm not the youngest guy in the room. So what I had to do is I had to look at this as though I got to elbow my way to the front of the class. I'm not letting somebody come and jump in front of me. I'm just not allowing it. It's just my personality. It's my character. And so it's like, let's do videos. Let's do testimonial videos. Hey, you're supposed to have, $1,000 a year video guy follow you around that
Done.
knows
Got it.
exactly
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do and how you do it. I mean, you look at what I've got going on. I got video testimonials that kick ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You did it.
My website sells, and I did the things that were told. Ultimately, I wound up having to trust other people. That was probably the hardest thing for me to do because I watched them crash and burn. I watched them fall on their faces. I had to pick them up and dust them off. I had to throw people to the curb. I had to fire people. I didn't hire properly. I hired because they had a pulse and they told me they knew which end of a hammer to use. I spent a lot of money and a lot of time burning through people. But thankfully, I sold stuff at the right margin to where I was able to absorb that.
Well,
Even went through the process of trying to manage projects a little more succinctly by going from a subcontractor model to an employee model, which was an absolute horrible experience and cost me a fortune.
yeah.
And then I went back to the subcontractor model, and what a difference the way the world works.
Yeah. I tried it both ways. I don't know that I enjoyed either one, frankly. But I look back at, how I was leading at the time, and it probably had a lot to do with how I was leading it. What would you say, how would you say your leadership style has changed as the company has grown and you've had to let go of some things?
Immensely. And what I have to also revert back to is the role plays. Because if it was not for the role plays, if it was not for the change in my mentality as far as communicating with people about motive and really digging into what it was that they needed, I mean, I was all about helping them, but I was also all about, what kind of bathroom, what kind of toilet do you want? What kind of fixtures do you want?
Right.
It's like we talked about the logistics
Yeah.
and the materials
Right.
and not the why behind it. And I'm going to say that that was probably the biggest transition in my existence. And without that, I would not be here. Empowering other people and working with them. I was the one doing the sales. I was bringing on project management people. I was bringing on superintendents. My son was working with me, of course. So, I mean, he and I are like attached at the hip. So he basically parrots everything that I've ever said. He's very eloquent and he's great with clients, makes them feel very well cared for and trusted. We got nothing but 5-star reviews. And I, in the scope of me getting involved with Steve was, okay, I've got to step out of the role of being the hands-on leader, if you will. I was in charge of sales. I was overseeing the production. I was looking at the leads coming in. I was involved in the marketing. I mean, I still wore 12 hats and I had to get the hell out of that. What it really came down to was when I got with Steve and got in that room, that was an elevated version. The contractor fight was great, and that obviously helped me graduate. But when I got in a room of different people, my mindset changed. And ultimately, what that did is that allowed me to have the permission slip for myself to step aside. And once I realized that I could do that, I wholeheartedly made it happen. I love people. I love finding out about their projects. I love getting on those initial consult calls and digging deep and learning about them. But when it came to actually doing the sale, being involved in the overall process, putting the proposal together, selling the job, and I'm being tracked by everybody wants to talk to me. Well, I can't run a business if I'm the sales guy.
Right.
So I had to step out of that role. And I got to a point where I really didn't like that role anymore because I felt that I needed more.
Yeah. I remember we did do a bunch of role plays, and let's talk about that for a minute, because when I first started doing that, I thought I was going to be, I don't need. I remember sitting in the front row of that event going, "Oh, they're talking about sales training. I don't need any of that because I've got plenty of work." And it never occurred to me how much I had to learn until we started working on it, and we spent countless hours on the phone just doing a back and forth. You trying to sell me a bathroom, me trying to sell you an addition. Let me ask you a question. Like, why do you think and people would be very resistant to it? We weren't, but many people would be very resistant to doing that. It's uncomfortable, right? It's awkward.
It is.
Why do you think that most contractors resist that role playing so much?
It's a feeling of judgment, right? So when I did my time, when I scheduled my role plays, I had a notebook. I mean, literally, I can go through it day by day and tell you what day it was, who I talked to, where they came from, what their background was, and what questions we asked and answered. And the most difficult part of that was feeling judged. So, I mean, even though I'm getting ready to jump on a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm talking to somebody, in a different time zone.
Right.
Um, you get the butterflies in your stomach. You feel uncomfortable.
Mm.
And what's interesting is that you have to realize that you have to get uncomfortable to break through, to create the change, to become the other person or the person on the other side, because that's where winning is.
Yeah, that's great. But and it took like I didn't realize like I thought I was always a pretty confident guy, but I had to learn a little humility in that process. Like how did you balance or how do you balance now that confidence and humility in the sales process?
Well, obviously, again, only because of repetition and because we have a succinct process. I
Mm.
mean, it really
Yeah.
just comes with repetition, and talking to Michael today in the sales office. I went in for basic sales training to get with my team. My team has been working without me for so long that it was probably warranted, but now it's one of those periods where we're in the next growth phase.
Hmm.
And how do we get to that next step? And I'm stepping back into this role and playing sales manager, fly on the wall. What are you guys doing? How can we incorporate new little nuances to grow the team? Coming back from a leadership meeting, knowing the things that I know, but again, watching a lot of the information that we're talking about rise to the surface. It's like, well, this is valid now. This is valid now. The team is ready for this. The team is ready for this. And it's a
Mm.
graduation.
Yeah.
So for us to go, we thankfully went from, I think, 1.6 last year. We did 3.5 this year, which was pretty much our target. And we're looking at 5 to 7 next year. And we staffed up. I mean, we spent a ton of money on people. But, this is the investment you have to make. And you have to do it clearly knowing that it's going to benefit.
Look at you go, man. That's all. That's fantastic. I mean, I know it's not all about the revenue, right? It's about how much you keep. And so I know that you work hard on that. I know that you know your numbers. I know your job cost and you work on that. And now you're kind of in the back, kind of watching how things go. That's got to be nerve wracking for you at times, isn't it?
It is when you don't know what's going on day to day
Yeah.
because, it's your baby. It's like sending your 5-year-old to school and they don't come back until they're ready to graduate high school. And you're like, what
Yeah.
the hell happened in the
Right.
meantime? You
Yeah.
know? So, there's a lot of sleepless nights, but again, I have to give my team the rope, right? So we communicate regularly and they give me their insights, which is great. But I also had to give them rope.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, you have to pull that rope back in and go, okay, well, what's on the other end? What do you guys need? How can I help you? And although the people that I'm working with are very diligent about trying to be self starters and get it done, I know pridefully that it sucks for them to have to come back and report to me because they just want to come and bring me wins.
Yeah.
But we're working together as a team. And when I can say, hey, I'm coaching, I have different word tracks, I have different ways of looking at things. I want to impart all of this to you so that we can all benefit. I want to, rising boats. I want to
Hmm.
raise the entire tide and grow more salespeople, more opportunity, more areas.
Hmm. Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's yeah. It's like I said, you gotta be nerve wracking to watch at times, but that letting go without staying in touch without micromanaging. I
I
want
just
to,
want to say one thing. I feel a
yeah.
whole lot better today going in and finding out how much opportunities in the pipeline, and how close we are to being able to close all of this stuff going into the new year. So
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. Right. Because this time of year can be a little bit sketchy. Had been for us in the past. But Casper East. So here we go. Right. Here we go again. And so you're launching Casper East. If someone's on here, they don't know what that is. Let us know what it is. But I'd like to know how's this version of Richard approaching business differently as you get like literally get to carve this new thing out of a piece of clay, right?
great question.
What I do. But what's
So
Casper East? What is it?
Well, Casper is a disappearing screen product. It's a retractable screen. Some people may know of it as a phantom screen. It basically rolls up into a little housing. Didn't
Nice.
have any samples handy, but I would invite anybody to go to caspereast.com and take a look at our website. We offer custom cut disappearing screens for front doors, back doors, windows, sliding doors, French doors. It's an amazing product because right now what we're seeing is HOAs don't allow anybody to have storm doors on their home. And
Right.
they don't want to see these things.
They don't want to deal with it.
You can't even tell this thing's on the house unless somebody's physically moving it. It disappears so easily into the structure itself.
Nice.
The benefit, what I love about it is that it's a unique product that every single one of my clients can enjoy. And there are so many applications. I mean, a storm rolls through and, it was hot and steamy, and then we can open up the doors and have this breeze flow through the house and smell the fresh air that came from that storm, and you can smell the earth. And they're building homes right now so tight for energy efficiency that they're unfortunately creating detrimental environments to the living that we do inside. So how often are you changing the filters in your home? That's very important. People have respiratory issues. You're basically trapping all of these things in your home. How do you create the opportunity to bring in fresh air? So it's a win. The biggest benefit that I found to this, not only do I think it's the coolest product going because it's a unique enhancement to your home, because it's available in 5 different colors. We custom cut them on site. It takes about an hour to do so. The money is great. The margins are fantastic. But the hugest benefit to me as a remodeler is not just that every person that I work with can enjoy this, but when we do these projects, the people find out I'm a general contractor and they say, "Oh, you can do my bathroom. You can do my kitchen." I literally have hundreds of thousands of dollars of opportunity that came my way because I created a warm lead with a very simple product. So a simple $500 or $700 sale turned into a $60,000, $80,000, $150,000 project. That's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. Is this an enhanced renovations company, or is it just a separate thing altogether?
I created North Home Remodeling as the parent company.
Gotcha.
Home is my name is Nordheim, so it means North Home. So I created the business.
Neat. Yep.
And then I did the DBA was Enhanced Renovations. And after speaking with the folks in California and getting involved with Casper, our original conversation was as to how we might actually be able to create the hub for the East Coast here.
Oh, nice.
I kind of kept this as a pet project for a long time because I was affording it to my clients, but I wasn't in the process of being able to grow it the way I wanted to. Now that Enhanced Renovations is running by itself, now this is my baby. And now I'm looking to blow this thing up and I want to share it with everybody. We've got so many processes put in place. We've got, oh my Lord, a presentation, a PowerPoint we're going to be doing in the near future. We've got exclusivity in so many states that I want to help other contractors appreciate and benefit from the same things that I've been able to do. And I have the experience. I've got hands-on with the product. I know the almost no warranty issues that exist. There's an awareness that does not exist in the general public about this product. So it's extremely foundational. We do trade shows and the events at the fairgrounds here in Raleigh. I've done shows in Chicago for the for Ace Hardware, and we brought this product there. And what blows me away is that people come by and they see this display. It's a full door, and they don't know what they're looking at. And then you move the screen, and they go, "What? What is that? Where did that come from? Holy cow, that's amazing! I need that." And it blows my mind. So, for this to be an opportunity for general contractors and the like, it's a win-win. And I want to see that happen. The way the world is nowadays, people need this in their lives.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love that you're, like you said, you're not the youngest guy in the room, but you still got some reps in you and you're getting after it. No, well, good luck with it, guys. That's CasperEast.com. Check it out. And Richard can help you out with that stuff too. I want to flip over to coaching now, okay? Because as part of this, like you were sitting around one day just saying, how can I complicate my life? And so you decided decided, decided to do a little coaching, right? Let me ask you this on a serious note. At what point did you decide that you wanted to help other contractors grow?
I think it's inherent in who we are that we want to help others, period. We want to help our clients. We don't want to say no. We have to learn to say no. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down. What was interesting is that my transition from being in the business to letting go and managing the business, stepping out of the day to day, was a 13-month process. And I say that came, again, from the permission slip that I was able to give myself. And that was through working with Steve, you guys. I mean, again, it was this community. Just for a moment, there was a period of time where I was without coaching, without a group. And what's amazing to me is that I felt, and this is the analogy I use, I was an untethered kite.
Yeah.
So I wound up wafting and feeling like, here I was back in my own head and, consciously beating myself up. And when I got back into this group, it gave me the confidence again, but it was an elevated nuance, a new rendition of me. So having the opportunity to be able to step out of the day to day, oddly enough, Steve and I were at an event that he was speaking at, and he looks at me and he says, "Hey, you want to help me out with coaching?" And I looked at him like, am I not supposed to be getting out of the day to day of the business? And now you want me to work your business? And it was like, wait a minute. How the hell did this figure out? Obviously because of our personalities and the
Yeah.
click and,
True.
the helping nature. I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cigars and whiskey aren't bad either,
Yeah. But just don't drink too much whiskey
We
or brown coffee.
Yeah, Bubba's got some videos of us, so we don't want him sharing out there, right?
Yeah,
we
they
had, we had a lot of
photobomb
fun.
all the time.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you, I mean, as you've kind of progressed through the coaching stuff and you're running the daily sales accelerator with us at the Rozenberg Group and jumping on the coaching calls and being part of the community, what patterns do you see over and over again with struggling contractors?
Mindset and getting out of their own way,
Hmm.
affording themselves a permission slip to be able to do what's next.
Yeah.
And, there are a couple of folks in the group that have really taken that baton and run with it. Matt Padron, for one. I mean, I think if I was to say that he's the poster child for holy shit, get off your ass and go get it done. I mean, from the first conversations we have to today, I'm just, there you go, follow that lead.
It's the most gratifying when you see somebody do that too. If you've given them some feedback as a coach and then they go do it, you're like, whoa, they did it. They implemented, but even more importantly, it worked.
That's true of everything. Every time we do these daily sales accelerators, sometimes it feels a little repetitious that we're going down the
Right.
same
True.
pathway, if you will.
Yeah.
But just as much as when I was at the last ground school event and, got 30 pages of notes,
Always learning.
well, again, it bubbles to the surface, right? So what makes sense for me today? It's the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over again, but how much of this have I already implemented? And now I'm looking at something from a different purview and going, well, you know what? We're ready to involve that. We're ready to implement that. We're ready to have that conversation. So there's only one way to scale, and that's by properly planning, setting goals, and attaining those goals diligently with a team.
Yeah. Let's pivot again a little bit here. I want to hit this because I know you're a dad, husband, grandfather, right? I want to know how you were able to balance that with business and how has business affected you in those roles over the years? Do you feel like would they all give you an A plus, or were there times when maybe you could have done better?
I drive my lane,
Mm,
right? I try and be the best I can for all of my people. I also know that I'm driven. My wife said to me, we went on a trip and she goes, I want you to, be present and this and that. And I'm like, do you know who you married? I got news for you. This is how it's going to go. Let me just be clear about it right now. This is the deal. I can't change for a week all of a sudden. No, I'm driven and I like to give myself goals. Sometimes I actually set my goals just out of reach. For years, I've done this. So every day I would give myself a goal that was just out of reach so I could see how far and so how close I could get to it. And I'm doing the same thing again with myself here with this next new challenge. I'm also looking at this as being like the do all be all, right? And I may be full of shit. And I may get this all up in where I want it to go, and I'll probably go do
Do
something
it again.
else. Yeah, maybe. But I truly think that this is going to be, the crowning jewel for me. That's going to actually give me the opportunity to step back, and now really be able to enjoy some time. The grandkids are all of an age. I'm not one to do the little baby thing. You
Yeah.
got to have personality. Let's go out and throw a football, right? Let's go
Yep.
climb a tree. I'm going to show
Right.
you guys how to do BB guns, and then we're going to
Right.
graduate.
Yeah.
Those I'm going to do a zip line and a tree house. It's like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Well, the next thing I was going to ask you is what is the thing that you're most proud of that's got nothing to do with the business or revenue or anything like that? But I think you may have just answered it.
Yeah, that's it. That and achieving my own, right? I mean, how often do we set goals that I think what happens is we actually set goals in our mind, and because we're always attaining the next goal, we don't use 2020 vision and look at what we were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the house that I moved into, I probably should have bulldozed and just freaking built a new house. But being in remodeling, I'm like, we could take these walls out, we could do this and this and this. And I worked on the house for 9 freaking years. Yeah, I mean, literally, I'm like,
Right.
I'm 56
Yeah.
years old. I'm changing windows and changing siding. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I told everybody, I'm like, I'm going to do this while I'm young because I'm not going to be able to do it later.
Not
And
gonna
I'll
be
tell
young
you what,
forever.
right now, I want nothing to do with it.
Right. Yeah.
Not a
I
damn thing.
hear you.
But now I can also look at I drew my house and I actually pulled this paper out and I looked at it and I'm like, son of a bitch.
That's what it looks like.
That's what I built. That's exactly what I built.
Yeah. Is that
And
funny?
I wanted to make a home that's going to be able to generate memories for the grandkids for years to come, because as I remember when I grew up, there were certain things in the back of my mind that were very family oriented, and that was some of the most cherished memories of my life, and that's why I wanted to create the same space here. So we
Love
have
it.
all the Christmases, all the
Yeah.
birthdays, everything is here.
Love it.
It might be a little work to deal with the cleaning up and
Same.
whatnot, but
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't
We
care.
do the same. Yeah. Hey, getting a little tight on time. I got a call at the top of the hour, but I wanted to get these couple of questions in. I always ask these questions. I didn't warn you, but I think you'll be fine.
Am I going to cry?
Nah, you won't. So my book that Bubba gives me a hard time about, Finding Your Edge. I talk a lot about your edge and you've heard me speak and how I always say your edge is already in you. It's kind of how you show up, like maybe others don't, how you show up differently, or where you go when the shit hits the fan, and what you bring to the table that others don't. And I know you've probably thought about this over time, but what would you say looking back, or even right now, what is your edge, Richard?
Self-discipline, right? I mean, I've vacillated. Again, as I mentioned earlier on, I am 100% in everything I do. So if I'm doing good, I'm doing great. If I'm doing bad,
Ooh, really bad.
I can go down. I can go that way too.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
well, so coaching. I mean, my mindset in the course of the last couple of months has changed. I'm gonna say in the last couple of weeks has changed even more dramatically. I happen to have had a conversation while I was out on a walk the other day, and I said, you know what? I really enjoyed running and I enjoyed marathons, and I hadn't done them in years.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to start that again. And I didn't wait till the first.
Right.
I picked up a couch to 18 or 24-week program, and I was out there running again today just before we
Love
jumped
it.
on this call.
Yeah, I know
And
you
I
had
like
done
the
some running.
discipline.
Self-discipline. I love it. Well, good luck with the running and start easy, right? Because we're not 25 anymore, right, brother?
Thank you.
Last question for you. And it's really not, I guess it is a question, but I like to, at the end, just kind of hand the mic to you, so to speak, and ask you, from a personal standpoint, business, personal, doesn't matter. just simply, what do you want people to know? What do you wish people knew?
That's a great question. All right, so
You know, maybe it's some advice to a young person starting in business, or someone that has struggled, or someone that's overwhelmed. What should people know?
well put. And I think that would probably be it. It's give yourself permission. It's allow yourself to get in a room of people that are better than you. Strive for that, look for that. Surround yourself with winners and don't be afraid to ask questions, because I am evidence of that. The people that we work with in our coaching are evidence of that. I mean, I can certainly attest to the fact that I'm seeing folks that we got involved with 2 months ago, and I'm seeing them graduate, educate, and come to the table with fervor and attitude and a win. You get in a room with winners, you become a winner. I want to be a billionaire, right? Great. I don't know if I need a billion, but you know what? I still want to associate with these
Yeah,
folks because they feed into me. And every day I learn something, and I want to not just learn it, but I want to impart that into somebody else. So anything that I grasp on, I want to actually be able to hand off to one, two, three, or five other people to help
love it.
them help themselves.
Love it. Dude, I appreciate you. I love you. You're one of
Same
my
here.
close friends and counterparts now here in the Rozenberg Group. I know I can count on you, and I know a lot of other people look up to you as a mentor and somebody that's been there and done that, and like me, has done it the wrong way plenty of times. So we can we can help people try to avoid that stuff, right? So,
Scars, bruises,
oh yeah, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. So,
legal stories.
oh yeah, we got we got it all going on. So bumps and bruises, but we're still here and reaching back and trying to help somebody else out. So I appreciate you. I like how you roll. There's a reason that we connected and are still connected. So I'm looking forward to what the next few years bring with us both professionally and personally. So, dude, thank you for being on the Summit podcast. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here and look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thanks a lot, Richard. Guys, this has been the Summit Podcast, episode number, I don't know, 80 something with Richard Nordheim of Enhanced Renovations and Casper East and the Rozenberg Group. So, Richard, thank you. We're out. Take care, guys.